The second winning series is a unique sports program that probes into the often controversial world of professional and amateur sports. Sports View Today.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Sports View. I'm Ron Cameron.
And I'm Bob Page. Our sponsors in the program, as always, Al Dietrich Oldsmobile. Uncle Al has a new location just east of the Pontiac Airport, so he's claiming now that where the runway ends, the deals begin. I understand GM's got this new 1.9% financing just come out, too, so that's another...
Same old mug, new location.
Yes, so we're finished with those slogans. Fred Wetzel and the folks at T-Com Pagers, wide state beeper coverage wherever you're watching this program in southeastern mid-Michigan. Will you get your head out of the camera shot, please? Your chance is coming. Steve Pinto and the folks at Maxie's Main Street in beautiful downtown Royal Oak. Go ahead. Sports Fans Journal.
I got an older issue.
No, I got an older issue because you didn't have any with you, and I had to bring that for you. And I brought the one with Sparky on the cover.
I might have a comment on that on another show about that. Okay, and if you want to subscribe, yes, Danny McLean's still writing from jail, and we'll give you that information.
Now, you said you wrote nice things about Sparky in that issue. Lou Whitaker's on the current cover, and you have ripped him royally, I understand.
I ripped him a little bit for his hustle.
Ripped him royally, not just a little bit.
What's the definition of royally?
We'll discuss that in a moment. We also have, let's see, jalapeno pizza and pasta crossing the Westland Mall, Pass, the Pro-Am Sports Systems, and Larry Payne and the folks at Dugan's Irish Pub on Woodward north of 13 Mile.
I want to say one thing about jalapeno pizza and pasta. They got an outdoor cafe now, and it's just jumping.
Nice.
It's a real nice place.
Right. Our guest of the program, Sparky Anderson, the Tigers' future Hall of Fame manager. We have some fun with that, whether you disagree with his strategy, as so many people do, and like he knows that's part, as I do frequently, as you do too. I think a lot of people do. He knows that's part of the game. The man is going to go down as one of the great managers in baseball history. The man is going to be in the Hall of Fame when he finishes his career. He is here today, among other things, to promote his August 29th auction on behalf of Catch, which is an organization of athletes who are helping underprivileged kids. We'll talk about that.
To ask how to spell Catch because you've never caught anything.
I can't believe that Sparky has actually risked the entire credibility of this event by enlisting you as an auctioneer.
That's right.
You're going to go on?
That's right.
I mean, you'll be able to hear the television sets going click, 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 click all across metropolitan Detroit.
I have a question.
Yes.
When's the date of the marriage?
I don't know. Hasn't been said as of yet. At any rate, we're rather than my personal life.
It'll soon be Sports View with just Ron Cameron. That is it. Because if he screws up this next marriage, even I can't.
I want to tell you something, pal. If this show ever is just Sports View with Ron Cameron, you're really going to be hearing this TV sets go click, click, click all over the metro area.
All
right. Now, Tigers taking on the Yankees this weekend, as most people are seeing this program, and I continue to agree with Sparky, as I've said all along. One of the things we agree on that, I mean, come on, this is 4 games. Somebody was obvious last weekend was going to win 2 out of 3. It happened to be New York. I think the 2 teams are going to split this weekend, and the series in the race is going to go into September. And I still like the Yankees. They're playing without Willie Randolph. They're playing without Ricky Henderson. Right. Lou Piniella's doing a super job. Now I see Mattingly is popping off in the papers saying he's unhappy and doesn't think he'll finish his career in New York because he's sick and tired of Steinbrenner. And they've taken glue and baling wire and paste and put together a pitching staff with 45-year-old or 44-year-old Tommy John as the ace, and they're still leading
baseball ace.
And they're still leading the Tigers as we tape this show by 3 games and by a half game over the Blue Jays. That's impressive.
Well, the Tigers have a chance. Al Holland has just been called up from the minor leagues, and I don't know if he's still on cocaine or not, but he's been called up.
I don't think they would have called him up if he was.
Well, speaking of cocaine, Steve Howe is going to make a return. It looks
Steinbrenner says, yeah, a lot of people are laughing about this Columbus shuttle, but he points to the fact again that the Yankees are leading the American League East. Now it does seem ludicrous
not because of the Columbus shuffle.
It
though, or shuttle, whatever.
I haven't followed the Yankees on a game-by-game basis enough to know if these guys that he calls up on a moment's notice are contributing, or the guys who's sending down deserve to go. I don't know.
I will say this: it's nice to see you at the ballpark again, because for 3 months you saw one game.
Right, and it's nice to see you at the ballpark again when you come now once every 4 or 5 nights, waddling in the 8th or 9th inning, and the only reason you come down there is to check on the newsstand sales of Sports Fans Journal. Admit it right now.
Stadium. No. I go down there. I've been down there every game of this series, and I saw you in there drinking like a hoot owl afterwards in the press room.
As I said before, when you work with Ron Cameron, you tend to drink like a hoot owl. What did you think of a couple more things? What did you think of the Niekro suspension, Joe Niekro?
I thought it was justified. I think anytime you give baseball a black eye and cheat, and it appears that's what Niekro did. I don't care what you say of what they do and all that stuff like that. The fact is he was caught red-handed, and that's the suspension.
What was he caught red-handed doing?
He wasn't caught doing anything.
He was caught with an emery board in his pocket. Now, how the hell do you take an emery board out in the middle of the game and scuff the baseball with it?
Well, whatever. The baseballs were scuffed.
Niekro said afterwards.
The umpire said the baseballs were scuffed. They've got 6 of them, including one at that time. So that's reason enough to eject him, and that's reason enough to suspend him.
It'll be interesting to see what Sparky thinks about that.
Yes.
Call him up here. I want to make a couple comments about one of my favorite topics, as usual, Russ Thomas and the Lions, who lost out on their chance to get Butch Woolfolk, a guy who could have helped this ball club. And wasn't it interesting to see that Butch Woolfolk took less money to sign with Cleveland? Wasn't it interesting to see that Russ Thomas enlisted Bo Schembechler to intercede on his behalf with Woolfolk and asked that he sign with the Lions, and Butch still said no and went with Cleveland? What does that tell you about the lack of respect players around the NFL have?
Well, I think that tells you that they have more respect for Cleveland than they do Detroit.
Absolutely.
And is it the city involved, or just?
It's not the city, believe me. But of course, Butch isn't a confused young man to begin with. He said originally that he'd definitely sign with either Indianapolis or Detroit. He was leaning to Indianapolis. Did you see the quote? Why? Woolfolk says, "The Colts have awesome talent."
Yeah.
Direct quote.
He is a confused
Butch
person.
obviously is a confused young man. And I don't want to sound more and more like Ron Cameron on this program all the time, but sometimes I see your point about the athletes of today. We take you to San Francisco, where former Michigan star Bubba Paris weighs 330 pounds in the camp of the 49ers. And the 49ers have had to go to this guy and not threaten him with his job, not threaten to kick him out of camp, but offer him a $50,000 bonus if he is down to 300 pounds at the start of the regular season.
What does it tell you?
Now, I don't think Sparky Anderson ever made 50 grand. I know he didn't as a player, and probably not when he first started managing the Cincinnati Reds. And here's a guy, in the old days, he would have said, "Son, you're too fat. Get out of here if you don't have any pride in yourself and don't want to play any more than this." The 49ers have to offer this guy 50 grand to get down to 300 pounds?
As I've been telling you on this show for a long time, fella, wake up and smell the roses.
I don't think all the athletes of today are dogs.
There's a lot.
I'm not even saying Bubba Paris is, but I do think it's funny, some of the things that go down.
About time Paige woke up.
Sparky Anderson is here on Sports View today. He has consented to appear on this program despite the presence of Ron Cameron.
That's getting old.
We'll be back with him
just like your
right
future.
after these messages.
We're about to embark on a great crusade. The eyes of the world are upon us. Our mission, crush the enemy before they crush us. Like America, Uncle Al will come through for you, crushing prices on Oldsmobiles and GMC trucks. Say hello, America. Sayonara Imports. Tanks, but no tanks to imports.
Visit Uncle Al's giant new dealership on M59 just east of the Pontiac Airport. Where the runway ends, the deals begin.
Jalapeno pizza's a great place to eat.
Hi, 2 for non-smoking, please.
Right this way.
Wow, look at all this food. A 2-pound wet burrito, a 16-ounce porterhouse, and there's pasta, too.
But did you see the daily specials?
What a deal for $6.25.
See, didn't I tell you jalapeno pizza and pasta's a great place to eat?
Jalapeno pizza and pasta on Cohen Road across from Westland Mall.
I'm sorry, she's out of the office for the day and there's no way to contact her.
With a pager from TCOM, you could contact her anytime.
I know it's an emergency, but it's out of the building now. May I call you later?
With Motorola Pagers from TCOM, you can deal with emergencies now.
I'm sorry, our delivery man is on call right now. We won't be able to help you till tomorrow.
Hi, my name is Fred Wetzel with TCOM Paging. If these problems seem familiar to you, then you need a TCOM pager. You'd be surprised how affordable they are. Probably wonder how you've done without one. Give us a call at 559-6826.
In just 2.5 years, Dugan's Irish Pub has become one of the hottest spots on the North Woodward Strip. Come on inside and I'll tell you why. You start out with a famous Big Chief burger, an institution in Royal Oak since 1954. Dugan's has the cheapest drinks in Metro Detroit. Specials every night, not to mention the best-looking waitresses serving those drinks. We've got oldies on the jukebox all the time in a great casual atmosphere to meet your friends. So come on out to Dugan's on Woodward, just north of 13 Mile, and have a bite of nostalgia.
We're back on Sports View with Tigers manager Sparky Anderson. And Sparky, since most people are seeing this during or after the series is over, this program, we won't divulge that much on what kind of a series this is with the Yankees and things like that. Overall of the season. At the start of the season and to now, this ball club's a little bit better off than you thought it would be at this stage, isn't it?
Absolutely. The thing you don't look and don't really understand, I don't care who you are, is the intangible. How much will they put an effort forward? Now, you don't know that. There's no way to know. We have some people on this club, and the funny part of it is one of our most important people is Tommy Brookins. You know, people always look to Trammell and Gibson and Evans and Whitaker and all those people. Tommy Brookins is probably as big on our ball club as any player we have. If you look ever since Tommy started playing regular, the last 70 games, what's happened to our club? I think we're like 48 and 22 or something.
But I'd suggest that was addition by subtraction, because here in Brookins is a guy who's hitting 230. He's just an average Major League Baseball player, and Darnell Coles was so awful. He hurt you. He cost you some ball games.
Yeah, Darnell got off. It's one of those things, and you know, it's so funny to realize what psychological warfare really does against yourself. You get off bad, and mentally you just get it to the point where it's almost uncontrollable. And that's what happens. You could start all over, and Darnell could get off fast like he did last year. See the difference in his rookie year? We were talking about it. The first 2 months he was hitting over 300. You get off good, everything's going fine, and you are just a different person. Then all of a sudden, everything in the world is like running that wall. I run into it and I can't go, and pretty soon it becomes claustrophobia. And people do not understand. I have seen it with athletes so often. They just lose all the confidence, period. In fact, they don't even think they can play no more.
Does he have to see a shrink or something?
It isn't a case of what we say as a shrink. It's a case
No, what Ron said as a shrink, not
he
we.
said it too.
It's a case, it's within that type of thing, though, where you just lose all confidence in yourself. That would be like a man working in a company. He forgets how to direct authority, and forgets how to know that this bottle is supposed to have this label on it.
It's been divisive too. Mitch Albom wrote in the Free Press a week or two ago about some real bad vibes in the clubhouse between Coles and some of the other players who resent his presence there. As a manager of the ball club, what do you do with a young man? Do you send him out to AAA and bring him back next year?
You know, when I look back on it, it's nice to look back, because you can always be right when you look back. It's like putting. You like to putt the second one, not the first one. I think for his sake and everything, at the time when it really got bad and he threw the ball out of the stadium, he was telling you, help.
Right.
You know, and I look back on it now and I realize that it was the best thing then, at that moment, would have been to go to Toledo for about 30 days anyway, and let all that frustration get out of you. I didn't do it, and so now what you have is a case of a guy almost realizing this has been a bad year. He's starting now mentally to come out of it all, and really now he's at a very relaxed thing. But he's at a relaxed thing because of the fact he's not playing.
And yet he hurt you the other night against Kansas City in the field?
You know, it's one of those things where we played him, but you hate to put any young man in that position when they're in the situation where they're going like that. I really feel bad for him, because here's a young man, has a lot of talent, and has an opportunity to be a good baseball player. You just hope that a year like this won't set him back.
He should go play winter ball, maybe.
It would probably really help him, you know, because he'd get away.
Usually you like to say no to a player.
I don't care much for winter ball. I've never been a winter ball person. I think in some cases like this, so it probably would be a good idea.
Sparky, another guy that almost falls in that category, never been a problem to us as long as he's been here, but he just can't seem to get anybody out. He's been a big disappointment, is Dan Petrie. And it just seems like him, if he goes to a hypnotist, he might straighten him out, because Dan Petrie, I know his slider's not doing what he used to be, but he's still got stuff to win in this league, I think.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. His stuff is plenty good to win in the American League or National League or any league. It might not be an awesome game, as he is on given occasions could throw, but he's got plenty of good stuff. His stuff is not the problem.
What's the problem?
Well, you know, it's again confidence, and then what happens every time, like the other night, fly ball to center field, and Chester lost the ball, period. He never found it. You say, why do these things happen to the same guy? If we're going to kick a ground ball with Minnow, we kick it with Peaches. With Walt Terrell, for instance, it seems like in Tanana, we play extremely well behind.
That might be, they have more confidence in those pitchers than they do.
I think two of the things in Tanana and Terrell's case, I really believe helps. If you notice, they get the ball and let's go.
Yeah.
If you ever notice when Tanana and Terrell pitch, the game is moving along, and players like somebody that moves this game along. Not that they want to go home, it's just that it keeps them very alert to what's going on, and they know they're going to hit the ball off of Walter and Frank, and they're alive for it.
But as far as Petrie goes, if the thought is, maybe go to a hypnotist and just say, hey, you can win in this league. Because he just doesn't, I don't think he believes he can win in this league.
I think one thing about Danny, as far as somebody that has friends, every guy in the club loves him, and every guy basically does that with Danny. You know, me and Peaches talk, and he's an unbelievable person. You know, he's one of those guys, people say to me, well, you know, are you going to take him out of the rotation? I have a terrible fault. I've had it for 18 years, and I know one of my real faults is if somebody has done over the years for me good, I'll die with them that year. Now, maybe I won't die next year, I don't know. But I'll die that particular year with them because I'm not going to allow this guy to be defaced after he's done everything he's done. And that's wrong. It's not right.
That's wrong, Sparky. I think it's right.
Well, it's right in the one thing for the person, but it's wrong in the sense
for the ball club,
for managing. Yeah, that's a terrible fault, and I have it. And I did that with Coles for the first 6 weeks of the season, and I cost us probably 4 or 5 ball games.
Sparky, one of the things that you're faulted on is making frequently outlandish statements to the media, and you had a lot of people laughing at this town in spring training this year when you said, and I quote, this ball club is better than the '84 team. Now, they played well. How do you feel about that quote now?
I think it's a better club.
Than '84?
Yeah, '84 was one of those things. I'll never forget Roger Craig. He came over, him and his wife Carolyn, after the season was over, before the playoffs started, and we were having dinner. We were going to barbecue steaks that night, and Roger loved to do that. And we're out on the porch, and he said, you know, Sparky, if people only knew what we know, that this club, everything in the world has happened, and no man will ever see something like this happen again. I said, I know it, Raj, but I said, you know, it's not for them to know. He said, do me a favor. He said, go with me. He said, pack it with me, because he said, you'll be known as the smartest living human that ever lived, because he said, come '85, they ain't got a chance in this world to win it again. And I said, you know, Raj, I said, you got a good point. I said, you got a good point, but I don't think I could run on them now. I said, you know, I deserve to have some whippings. Because I said, I've been very fortunate and won an awful lot of things. I said, I'm going to stay around and let them beat on me a while. And he let me know about it that year when '85 started, when they came here to the ring day while Raj come. He said, remember what I told you? He said, take a hike.
Have you ever come close to taking a hike at any point in your managerial career?
Yeah, '84.
84.
About the middle of '84 season, I talked to my, we walked every morning at home here, and I talked to her every morning about it. I said, you know, this might be it. I said, if we win this thing, I said, I might hang them up for one reason. I said, it's not fun. Everything is win, win, win. I said, I would like to go and enjoy baseball as I did when I was young and not be worrying all the time whether you're winning it or losing it. And she said, well, just do me a favor. Go on with this year. Let's do this first. She said, take this step first, and then take 30 days after the season. So 2 weeks after the season, we're home. And I told her one day in the kitchen, I said, no, babes, I said, we're going to go on, I say, because I don't know what I would do having 12 months a year off.
I know what you do. You play golf.
Yeah,
36 a day.
You know, Bobby, that's silly. You know, that's fine. I can stand 2 days a week in the winter. If I try to play the third day, I can't do it.
Sparky Anderson is here on Sports View today. I want to talk about your career, your accomplishments, and we'll have much more with the Tiger manager.
As a player or as a manager?
As a manager.
Hi, it's me again. In the past, you've heard a number of people give reasons why they come to Maxie's. Maybe you're not yet convinced. Let's ask a few more.
I come to Maxie's for the fine selection of wine, the great pickles, and the owner, Steve Pino, owes me $14.50.
I come to Maxie's because the food is great. The hors d'oeuvres, sensational. It doesn't cost a lot of bread. And most important of all, Steve, the owner, is buying.
For the selection of fine wines, of course. Mainly I come to Maxie's because Ron Cameron doesn't come here.
Of course, there are other reasons why you should be coming to Maxie's. On Sunday nights, we feature the Maxie Jam with some of the best rock and rollers this area has to offer. Every Tuesday and Saturday, we have classics on video with Elmar. Of course, we always have our outdoor cafe open for your fun and enjoyment. And one day, Bill Sparks might show up.
There we are, Sports Fans Journal, going strong, as you see here, and that's Lou Whitaker on the cover. Sparky Anderson's one was on a couple of months ago. We got good, hard-hitting sports from people that know what they're writing and talking about in Sports Fans Journal.
Me included?
Well, there's some upsides to Sports Fans Journal, there's some downsides, and that is a downside. You believe I've not even gotten paid by Bob Page yet for letting him write a column. But if you'd like to subscribe to Sports Fans Journal for a year, here's what you do, and I'll give you the address in a moment in case you're wandering around. You'll read Denny McLain straight from his jail cell, Ernie Harwell, George Kell, Mike Downey, Eli Zaret, another one of Sparky's favorites, a couple of those, Bob Feller, George Allen, Dick Vitale, Don Cherry, Ray Lane, Sonny Elliott, George Blaha. Tom Lemming in Chicago writes about our preps, both locally and nationally, and also Dr. Taji about athletic injuries. We've got so many more writers, both on the Jim Northrup, Lem Barney, and a whole lot more. And if you'd like to subscribe for a year to Sports Fans Journal, just send a $15 check or money order made payable to the paper, Sports Fans Journal, and send to Sports Fans Journal, P.O. Box 12170, Birmingham, Michigan, 48012. Or you can stop by your local newsstand, bookstore, Tiger Stadium souvenir stands to pick up Sports Fans Journal. For further information, call this number, 350-3530.
And we're back on Sports View today. Finally, and our guest is Tiger manager Sparky Anderson. We were talking before the break about Sparky nearly quitting in 1984. You didn't, and I think it's for two reasons. Number one, as you've told me and other people this year, you changed your attitude. You're more relaxed now. You don't worry so much about winning and losing. But when you said a little while ago that you wanted to manage 17 more years, I went to the record books. And the accomplishments that you've had already in baseball are enough to put you in the Hall of Fame. What you will do in 17 more years is mind-boggling. And in the year 21... mind-boggling. And in the year, as I've said on my shows, in the year 2100, when they talk about the greatest baseball figures of the 20th century, you will be mentioned along with Connie Mack, Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Hank Aaron, people like that.
Well, you know, I tell you the truth about it. When it's you yourself, you don't think of it. I don't know how to explain that to kids, but you don't think about it because you're enjoying doing it. Someday, yeah, they will, and I'll be invited, I hope, to some old-timers games in Cincinnati and Detroit, and you'll look at some of the players and say, Trams, man, what happened to you? Where'd you get that pot, you know, and give me, how come you weigh 260 pounds, and things like that. But when you're doing it, you don't think about it. I think about the old man a lot, Stingle. He has to be my all-time favorite. Because he could control everything. He would be with people and just kept everybody going. Half the people didn't know what he was saying. I half the time didn't know, but I know that he.
That's what they say about you too, though, right?
He's having fun.
You know, one thing, Sparky will go down the history. Right now, he's the longest-term manager. His term is white hair.
Yes.
Yeah. Longest of all time.
Sparky, have you thought about your numbers? What they're going to be if you manage 17 more years? Next to Connie Mack, only in baseball history.
And what the clubs look like. I told my wife, I said, you know, one of these days, I would like to get involved with an expansion thing. And I really would. I don't know why. I would like to be able to do both. I'm not ready to do that now. You know, I don't even give it a thought.
Well, how much longer than in Detroit?
I would like to beat Jennings. I don't know if they'll let me. And I know that Jennings has 13 years. You know, and I only have really 8.5 when this year's over, or a little over 8.5.
5 more years as Tiger manager?
I'd have to go 5 more years and only have a year more on my contract, so that means I'd have to have 4 more somewhere. I would like to beat Jennings because I was the longest manager in the history of Cincinnati, and I believe Rose will beat that. So
you don't think he'll get tired of it? The ball players of today?
Not Peter Edward. He's a funny character, boy. He's something. He's special. I think he'll beat that, and so I would. Then, if he does, I'd be second. So I would like to be first somewhere.
You mentioned that you came close to packing in 1984. If you had have done it at that time, what would you be doing today? You'd still be baseball scouting, I'm sure.
I think I would probably be doing the cable. Color on the cable at home, because I was asked to do that. I would have been doing either the
what do you mean color on the cable at home?
Dodger games on the cable, and then I would have probably been an idiot going around doing some card shows and things like which.
An idiot? $5 an autograph these guys get now for signing things at card shows.
Sparky, one reason if you were going to give it up, you want to spend more time at home and things like that. But if you're on the cable, you're still traveling all the time.
Still, so to me, that's why after you really think about it, you're
in the best position right now.
4 months vacation is enough for any living human. And if you need more than that, there's something wrong with you. I would really miss hearing all the griping and complaining.
Before we get to a commercial break, Ron mentioned again the ball players of today a moment ago. Do you detect a difference between managing guys now as opposed to the early 70s, let's say, when you were in Cincinnati?
Okay, without a doubt. Now, they do have a little better all-around education in the sense that you have to explain things now. Where before you just said, do this, boom, the guy did. The guy wants to know why now. That's one of the differences. And
my way or the highway doesn't work quite as well anymore.
No, that don't quite get it. And the other thing is, so much money is involved. And just think about a young man, 25 years old. How do you get that young guy when he's got so much money?
And guaranteed for several years.
It's tough.
So it's tougher to manage.
Willie Wilson,
it's tougher to manage for
you know what, I don't think it's tougher to manage. I think it's a thing that it takes a while to get used to. And I'm getting used to it now, the money thing. And it doesn't bother me that a guy's got Mercedes and Jaguars and all that stuff.
They're signaling frantically out there.
Right.
Go to a commercial, which we'll do, and we'll close it out right after this.
Knob is rapidly becoming one of southeastern Michigan's premier entertainment centers. Whether it's bowling, video games, and Zim's Huge Arcade, or outdoor sports, Zim's boasts 2 of the finest softball facilities going, available for your league or tournament. And even if you don't play at Zim's, you can play after the game at Club Zim's. Drink specials nightly, live entertainment, and dancing.
Hi, I'm Joe Zimmer. I'd like to invite each and every one of you to come out and see us at Zim's Spirits and Eatery, our bowling center, and our new softball facility. Look forward to seeing you.
The 1987 Major League Baseball season is in full swing. And now, you can track every team all summer long by tuning to The Pennant Chase on Pass. Join host Larry Osterman each week as he takes a look at the majors divisional races, the American League and National League Players of the Week, as well as exclusive up-close interviews with the game's biggest stars. To stay up to date with all the happenings in and around the world of baseball, join us every week for The Pennant Chase on Michigan's cable home of the Tigers, Pass.
In laboratories around the world, scientists have discovered something that may help prevent some forms of cancer. You don't have to go to a cancer center to get it. In fact, it's right in your kitchen. Because some studies show if we eat less fat and more fiber, up to 1/3 of cancers could be avoided. Someday there may be an ultimate cure for all cancers. But if we eat better, a lot of us won't need it. Ask us for a free booklet on diet and cancer.
We're back on Sports View. Tigers manager Sparky Anderson. Sparky, in closing, let's plug your big thing coming up August 29th.
It's for Catch, and the object of it is Caring Athletes Team for Children in Henry Ford's Hospital. And we are trying to raise money to give children, especially underprivileged kids, something on they never had before. And I think kids deserve that. And I got to thank everybody at Michigan State.
Well, it's at North Farmington High School.
North Farmington High School on 13 Mile and Farmington Road.
Right.
And it's just, to me,
come up August 29th.
We're about out of time. I want to thank you for coming on. Good luck with that. Ron and I will both be part of it, as a lot of other people around town. We got time to thank sponsors, Al Dietrich, T-Com Pagers, Maxie's, Sports Fans Journal, Jalapeno Pizza and Pasta, Pass, Dugan's Irish Pub. Thanks again to Sparky, and thank you for joining us on this edition of Sports Feeder.
Bye-bye,
We'll see you next
everybody.
time.